Oh, this just closed out. What's up, everybody? While I restart this Instagram, that's lame. Dang. Okay, I'm Yogi Chris, Captain of Vine Nation. While this gets started, that's stupid. Instagram is being updated. All right, so that's what's happening over there. Captain of IMC Nation, PhD here from Eden House, Las Vegas, talking about AZD content. IMC Nation is the movement, and also has some topic ideas for the actual stream today, which we'll get to. I'll probably get to it at the end because know thyself, I already know that I'm going to go a whole circuitous route, which means I'm going to go on like 1,000 tangents before I even get to the point. So I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm going to go on 1,000 tangents before I get to the point. But the point of the video was this question that I've come across. It's like a situation I come across with all the guys that I'm ministering to around the world. And it has to do with being a stepdad, raising another man's kids, or being in a relationship with the woman in such a way that you also have relationships with the kids and you are seeking or want or are confused about how to have relationships with kids, et cetera, et cetera. Should a man be a dad to another man's kids? That's the question. And before I get to that, like thoroughly and go on all my tangents, I'm also going to say that should a man should do whatever the fuck he wants to do as long as he's not hurting somebody, loving a kid like that, sex like pedophilia, whatever, not torturing animals like shit, like outside of like obvious just evil. A man should do whatever the fuck he wants to do. So should the woman. But also, if 2 plus 2 equals 4, and you want to should that two plus two equals 6, 2 plus 2, I'm going to logically show that I think that's not the right answer, and you're probably going to get a lot of wrong answers after that if you try to build a bridge with that math. But you're welcome to answer it however you want, like to each their own. And then some things are a little bit more vague, like what's better, an apple or an orange? Okay, so somewhere in between that is should a man raise another man's kids? And so, like I said, I'm going to go 1,000 tangents. One of those tangents is, let's see if this finished updating. It did. Nice. Okay, we won't bother with titles and everything. We'll just go live. What's up, Instagram? I already did the intro because this account cut out. So whatever, you catch it on the other accounts. You also go to Masculine Mindset YouTube or IMC TV YouTubes. That's where this is streaming to. So let's click on that actually. And guys, if you're on YouTube and you want to comment, you can do that. I'll see your comments. So I was actually going to talk about what you were asking me about, which was like, why do you got to push guys so hard to get involved in this sort of thing? And uh, it's really interesting. Like this sort of thing is a few different, like, there are a few different subjects that there are teachers for that you can go and learn similar kind of things. The most related is game and pickup and whatever. So you could talk about all the game coaches and whatever. There's other things like magic and sorcery. There are teachers in schools for that. There's other things like personal development, Tony Robbins types things. That's very related to what AZD does. There's other maybe religious or spiritual practices like yoga or any number of spiritual disciplines that at the highest levels, they're doing things that have a lot of overlap with what AZD teaches. And all the way to like disclosure movement. You could research disclosure about aliens and Illuminati and just like make a whole life and career out of that. And that would have some overlap with what AZD is teaching. Like that actually helps you understand where he's coming from. And, he's the guy with 9 girlfriends that are all super fine. Like, find that. It's like you were asking me, like, is being pushy the way to be? And it's like when someone else can do something similar to what I'm doing, at least in the results, then I'd love to show up and listen to how they do it because it'll only make me better. So I'm sure AZD would love someone to arrive on the scene who has like 6 girlfriends or something, or 4 girlfriends if they're fine. It's like, hell yeah, let's collaborate, bro. What have you discovered? But there's nobody. That's the thing. The closest I have found is nothing really. I mean, it's only on the surface. I would say there's this one OnlyFans pimp guy who might be a real pimp in real life, and he makes a lot of money doing like what he's doing, and so did Andrew Tate. But that's the thing, and he's got some fine girls around, but it's just the dynamic is it's so transactional and it's just so out of reality. Like I get what AZD's doing is out of reality, but not really, because when you zoom in on what he's doing what every man would do. in those situations. He's just interacting with the girls, talking, and then it's organized into so many girls hang out with him and so many girlfriends. Taekwondo is a great gamer. Yeah, send me a. Oh, that's Armando. Is that like a video game or? I'm surprised you're telling me this now. I've known you for like 2 years. He makes girls fall in love with his mouth. So send me a Instagram or whatever. That's Armando Vargas. It's interesting when somebody says someone's a great gamer because great, what levels are above great? If you were going to say someone's a great gamer, and then someone else, let's say he's even better, what would you say? He's a really great gamer. He's a he's a spectacular gamer. Like what words would we have to use to be the next levels? He's excellent. He's okay, so is a professional gamer above a great gamer? Okay, so then is professional the top level, or would there be some other words that would be even higher? Champion. Champion gamer. Okay, so there's great gamer, professional gamer, champion gamer. And is there anything there is like legendary, uh, mythical? He's the sage of game, like master, like guru, the world's greatest of all time. Because there's lots of champions every year. There's 36 state champions, but then there's the one guy who was a four-time undefeated state champion, and he's the greatest the state ever produced. And that's like a different level. They're all state champions, but one is like, he goes down in the record books as the greatest wrestler ever came out of that area or something like that. And so I just want to point that out because being a great gamer, I wonder, as a guy who knows AZD, what would you say AZD is if that other guy's a great gamer? I'm curious, but I also don't know that guy. So, we'll see. Uh, because it seems at the multiple relationship level for many, many years, how AZD does it, that it's way beyond making a girl fall in love with your mouthpiece. You got to build a life with the girl. The girl needs a life. You can otherwise you're always going to have to trance her and keep her in trance in between hanging out with her so that she's in love with your mouthpiece. She's got to be in love with the lifestyle you've given her. And the life you've given her, the freedom, you gave her a life back. She was selling out her femininity to get ahead in life. AZD is a mystical gamer, maxed out on all stats. Okay, whatever. Sure. I get it. He's the big boss. He's Bowser. And, that other guy is like, I don't know, one of the mushroom heads. So, but at least he's in the game. A lot of people didn't even get characters in the game. All right, so what am I saying here? And if you guys want to collab, you want to come on stream, I'd love to talk with you about it. So, again, until AZD has some counterpart that seems to be succeeding at those levels with multiple tens over a decade and clearly building a life for them that they like. I know from my minimal experience, which compared to him is minimal, compared to regular people is a lot more because most guys don't have a relationship of 6 years. Most guys don't have a relationship with a fine woman. Most guys don't have a 6 year plus relationship with a fine woman where she doesn't interact with guys. She's cut all guys out of her life, out of her social media, out of her cell phone, out of everything, tattoos them all over their body, and then somehow gets employment at a place where only women work and only women are clients. That's where my girl is at, where the level of male interaction is like maybe a clerk at the checkout when there's only one clerk. And it's just like you wouldn't want to be that clerk because she's probably going to be a cold bitch to you. She doesn't even have manners at all. Like she doesn't have to try to be a bitch. She just hates guys really, really bad. It's hard. It's kind of insane almost, but I like it. So I'll work with that. And then multiple girls at 7 second girlfriends in the process. So still working on my game. Like you don't know where I came from. Like stats in all levels. No, I got stats in certain levels and other ones I was at 0 when I started. And so don't judge my game, judge my longevity, judge my etiquette, my integrity, my ability to make sense out of, what doesn't make sense to you. So the ecosystem of mankind that we're working with is I know the future for guys in their relationships. Like I just talked to this guy, he's 27, San Diego, been talking to him for like almost a year. He's improved his condition at a snail's pace. He got a second job. Cool. His first job took away hours. Okay. Is can't even be interested in women right now because of the money. But he's able to save some. Interested in stuff like what are you doing, dude? You're directionless. Do your friends want you to be the best? No, they just want to hang out. So you got no friends around you pushing you. No females that you're interacting with, except what he says, the store clerk sometimes, the checkout clerk girl. Ah, man, I know where you're at, bro. And then you're saving money and hoping to get into options trading to get ahead. And yet that guy is desperate, and I know where it's going to go. Man, what's he going to do? Save up a little bit of money and buy a house eventually, and then just settle for whatever fat girl will get with him. Maybe settle to maximum degree of like get married, have kids with her. Maybe just settle like he's not going to try to get other girls, but that's who he's going to stick with. Like he's just going to be miserable, and then the whole society gets miserable, filled with men like that. That's fine if that's you can do your own thing if you're a guy. Do that, whatever you want. But when everybody's doing it, then the society sucks. And we're getting more and more clever building like bridges and technology and things because guys are just like honestly, they're very sexually frustrated and so they're burying themselves in their work and all that sexual creativity is coming out in technological advances, but they're still warped inside. They can't be happy at home, so to speak, at home.
They're suppressed.
Yeah, so they're channeling because they still got all that energy and all that intelligence. And so that's great. They're creating conveniences or whatever, but it's still being born out of a desperation and a neediness and it's whatever. So we get to take advantage of that, but the society doesn't get better like that. And so, like, the question was, should a man raise another man's kids? Uh, Maybe there's some extenuating circumstances, but I think that a guy at his maximum power level is going to want multiple women, honestly. And so, how much is he going to raise another man's kids if he's living his purpose, being the best, saving society and mankind because it's not in a good condition? And then he's going to go and raise another man's kids. If he has the urge to raise kids, is he not going to want to make his own kids? Is it because he loves that woman so much? That's different than loving her kids or taking care. Like you take care of the kids through the woman, but why do you need a relationship with the kids? Do you think the kids want a relationship with you? They want their dad. They want some replacement dad coming in. If I had kids, would I want a replacement mom for them? They want their mom. If the mom didn't work out, then that's still your mom. Like here's no, you don't need maybe in time, but it's not something that I would pursue. Maybe 10 years down the line, I'm sure there'll be interactions between me and the kids. It's not like it's zero, but I'm not pursuing that because I'm pursuing power and influence. Because if I'm good, first of all, if you can't recognize that the world's in a shitty place, then what other opinions do I really care about? Like, and it's not me like putting it there like it's not in a bad place, and I'm just going to try to convince everybody it's in a bad place. I don't know, man. Look around. Men are not happy in relationships. Everybody complains incessantly. They're trying to escape on vacations and binges and all kinds of like weird activities. And then you just got to see that perversion and pedophilia, all that dumb shit and human trafficking is actually the result of a lot of causes. It's not just those are the anomalies that everybody's okay. And then there's just like a small portion of people that are, just really fucked up. That doesn't seem to be the case. It's a spectrum, and a lot of people are closer to being fucked up than you think. They're just at that they've crossed that edge where they're like criminals or whatever. But that's the direction guys are going in. And we see it all the time here in clubs in Vegas and whatever, because there's a lot of prostitutes around and a lot of sex being sold. And we see the guys that have money or don't even have money, but they're finding the money to get that satisfaction because that's really, really, really what they want. They'll work all year to have enough money to come here and do that because that's what they wanted. They were working for that. Not to raise another man's kids, they were working for that. Now, you fall in love with the girl, whatever, but I'm just saying it just seems unreasonable. It only diminishes your survival as a man. And sure, you can make the kids better, but it's not just you're climbing an uphill battle, you're going against nature. Like if the kids sought a relationship with you, okay, I could see that being a little bit different. But should the man seek a relationship with the kids, the kids will get the benefit through the woman. The woman benefits by being with you.
If she's healthy, they're healthy.
Yeah. And she's definitely not healthy if she's not balanced by masculine energy. That balance is everything because she's just going to be bitter. She's going to be like guys are bitter, resentful, closed off, totally in her head, unable to communicate about her experience. A lot of people can communicate about things. They talk about stocks to the T, precise. They could talk about music. They could talk about yoga. They could talk about engineer, like Man, people have languages developed on that subject, but they don't know how to relate with another person. They don't know how to relate to the opposite sex. They don't know how to relate with their internal experience, what's happening. They got to wait for a big moment to write a poem, but they can't just do it as it's happening because they're out of touch. Because they spent their time developing a language that was out of touch with them. It was just a language about some ethereal subject. And then the best communicators, maybe like that guy you were saying that manages the Chili Peppers. I'll bet he's really good at relating his experience, so that and relating it so they can relate to it. So you relate on the experience, then you influence people. That's game.
You bring them up. You bring out the best in them.
Man, and that's what happens with the woman. So she's in her head, she's got a bunch of language about whatever her job is, and then she's totally in chaos about her personal experience, probably traumatized, betrayed, all kinds of bitter grammar and bitter words about her experience. Dad didn't treat her right, mom she hates. Like it's just filled with negativity all her life. And then she's got some professional language that she copied off a guy somewhere. And so she gets ahead because she's more sexually attractive. So if she had the same skill set as the guy, she'll be ahead of him because she's selling something else. And if she's at the same level of success as the guy, she's actually worse than the guy because she's selling her sex to get ahead. That's offsetting her skill set. As she gets older and uglier, she's going to fall behind that same guy who keeps getting better and better, doesn't go through menopause, doesn't have a period once a month. Imagine if you took 2 or 3 days off every month when your competitor wasn't. And the woman doesn't have to take off. She's just might as well check out because she's not going to be herself. She's not going to make the same decisions. And she might, and then you'll gradually, just the other person will get ahead, unless you're just that much smarter, that much more efficient, which I think is unfulfilling for a woman. But this is, I'm jumping all around on this thing. Um, what do you guys think? Let me open it up. We got people online, people in person. It could be different subject, ideas, chopping, throwing in your 2 cents. Otherwise, I would keep going. Obviously, I can keep talking, talk.
I would raise another kid, but he would have to be mine. Like he
Yeah,
won't use
because
that.
you already have 2 kids, so you would make a new family. Is what you're saying?
So like I would raise another chick's kid as
Oh,
long as I was his actual father. Like if he doesn't have a father, then I'll be his father, you know? But I have to have that permission from his mom to be like, hey, I'm gonna be his father, so he has to listen to me. On the other hand, if he has a father, there's no way I can be his father because he already has a father.
how would he not have a father?
He left.
Well, he's still
Yeah,
his
but
father.
if the father's not in his life, like if
Even if
he's
he's
gone,
dead,
dead, just gone, completely gone.
like dead, because I mean that's different than being incarcerated or just being across town. Like, do you mean dead, or do you just mean
What do
like?
you mean, like no relationship with the kid?
I see. Uh, Interesting. So let me formulate this into questions because I want to ask you. Um, do you suppose? Uh, um, let's see here. Okay, so let's say that the woman, you and her talk, you're like, make me the kid's dad, and the woman's like, I want you to be their dad, right? Essentially. Uh, how do you think that affects the kids? That the mom says this is your dad versus she doesn't say this is your dad. Do you think they'll want to have a relationship with you more or less or the same?
It would be up to me. Like if I'm a cool dad, then they would want to be, But if they don't like me, then they're gonna resist it.
Right. So it's independent of if the mom says so or not. It's whether or not they like you.
Yeah.
Right on. Another question would be, um, do you do you suppose that the woman had any cause in driving the biological father away?
99%, yeah.
Okay. So knowing that, you would still want to potentially replace that man.
if we have a healthy relationship, me and the mom, yeah,
And then, okay, and then, so if you had a healthy relationship with the woman, so maybe she drove the other guy away, but he was so weak and beta that he just couldn't handle it. You handle it properly, and you love the woman, and she's righteous to you. Now, do you seek the father relationship with the kids, or something else? She seeks it, or the kids seek it?
I wouldn't seek it.
You would not seek it.
Mm.
Okay. Right on. And um, last thing is, uh, well, I guess that's about it. It's a little bit different than how you initially said it. And then by asking you these few questions, I got that you're not seeking the relationship with the kids, that, um, and you know that the kids being in a relationship with you depends on them liking your character. It has nothing to do with what anybody says. You're the dad, you're not the dad. It doesn't matter. Because also, go ahead.
It does feel like it seems like I'm doing him a favor. You know what I mean? It's not something I'm looking for,
Right.
but if he needs it, I'll be like, okay, I'm doing his mom and him a favor.
Right. So yeah, my mentality is it's all for the mom. It's not for the kid. I get the kid comes with the mom, but without the mom, I wouldn't be there for the kid. So that I mean that's just the truth of it. I'm on a life purpose. There's a lot of kids in Africa I could go rescue. Like if that's what you want to do, go rescue kids or whatever. Like even if it's my neighbor, I don't need to rescue that kid. And to some human degree, so be human. Like I may step in some way, but there's no obligation like that. And because I want to say that the woman will come at some point, likely, if she's made her fall in love and whatever, and she'll ask you to be a sort of father role. The mind-blowing reality of what seems to happen is at some point, you and that bitch are going to be in an argument, and she's going to say, You're not even their dad. You can't blah, 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 because they're my kids, they're not your kids. And you'll be like, But you asked me to do this. And you don't see she has a card over you. She's using you in a way that you may willingly be used, but are you using her or has she just got the upper hand on you? How are you using her? You know, some exchange like that. So, I mean, it's really logical stuff. I mean, when you're in the feelings of it and you're in the relationship, maybe you make compromises or whatever. But that's the thing. If the emotions distort your decisions, that's where you're setting yourself up to get armbarred. You're going to get submitted. You just let the snake wrap around your neck and you're hoping it's not going to. But hopefully it's not too late because a woman in that situation, all she has to do is go really psycho and call the cops and say, he hit my kid. And it's just like, you are at a big disadvantage for a lot of years there. And you don't think that that woman's capable of doing that. And that's the state of the planet. We got a bunch of mama's boys that think there's such a thing as a righteous woman that isn't capable or willing to do that. And I haven't met a woman that hasn't done at least one psycho thing in her life as an adult. Maybe she's to blame, maybe she's not to blame. I know she's an adult, so she's got to be responsible for her actions. But is it from trauma, upbringing, whatever? Who cares? Who cares? If I did something criminal, do you care? Like, maybe you could be understanding, or whatever, but I still did a criminal thing. And the reality is, women will get away with a lot more criminal activity than a man would. A man will go to jail falsely accused a lot more often than a woman will. A man's sentence will be longer for the same crime than a woman will. Just do the research. Like it's set up to beat the man down and give the woman more privileges. So, around another woman's kids or another man's kids with a woman, you know. And if your game and your personality, your conversation and mindset is not so much better than hers, that simply by her interacting with you for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, however many times a week, if by having a relationship with you, she's not improving greatly, then you're not far enough ahead of her to have that woman. She should really feel the level up, just being in your presence, not because you're teaching her, because how you are, she sees you can respond. It's amazing how slow they respond, how inaccurately they communicate, how weakly they confront situations, how undisciplined they are in life, which is low survival value. The woman in the tribe who has to go get the water and cook the food, she's hella disciplined. Is she not? I mean, if she was sloppy and entitled, she would die. She would be cast out of the tribe. Like you gotta be on time, you gotta take care of the duties, even if you're sick, even whatever, whatever, whatever. So it's not just that the man is disciplined. I'm sure her man is more disciplined than she is, but discipline is what you need for survival to survive. So she's actually not surviving that well in her inner condition if she's lacking discipline. And if she doesn't have a man that's a lot more disciplined than her, I mean, where is she getting her discipline from? Her dad? Like, where'd she get it from? Some man somewhere. So it's just one of the qualities. I mean, all these qualities, she needs a man that just being around him, she feels she's doing better in life. And it's a trick if she's not actually doing better. So the pickup artist or whatever can make her feel like she's doing better. So many good feelings, so many emotional spikes, so much entertainment. This feels so good. I must be surviving really well because I'm safe enough to experience all of these emotions. And this guy is so dynamic and wow, he's so cultured, he's so wise, so much better than all the other guys. But if he's being fake and he's just memorized a bunch of gambits and tricks and jokes and things like that that make the woman more attractive, eventually she's not going to feel good around him because he's going to run out of material. And so the feelings go away and she's not actually doing better. She just felt better temporarily. It was a drug, the game, versus she is doing better. So that's the reality of AZD's game, that the women actually get better. They get more beautiful, they get more intelligent, they communicate better, they have more righteous, ethical business, they make better money over time. Because it's a big transition to go from selling yourself to the world as a woman to unplugging and only dealing with women in business. It's huge. That would be like similar to 90K a year starting salary, PhD of environmental engineering for the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, going to 14K a year selling yoga. Huge jump down, but the fulfillment is much higher. So stats, measure all stats together like that. So, all right, what do you guys think about this? We got a few people on. I have found out being around your group, I am better. Thank you. Of course, feels good to hear. So what it is, because it's everything we're saying and doing is based on science and, of course, AZD's teachings and all the references and things that he gives and the effect of the mastermind. The guys being around each other, being able to dialogue about these things that, there's no space for the dialogue to happen. It's absurd to think that you will magically all of a sudden know how to talk about the subject when you're in the situation. It's like the woman thinks that she's without a man for 15 years and magically she's going to know how to be with a man as soon as she gets, bro, you've developed all the habits for 15 years. Your entire bone structure and skin cells and everything have turned over multiple times in the vibration of lone wolf, solo survivor, independent woman, doing it yourself. You don't know how to be in a relationship with a man. Same thing with the man. You haven't been in a relationship for a long time or ever. How are you going to know? You think you just know whatever mom and dad model, whatever that was. So it's like you got to get in the game and develop the skills in the game. And then the mastermind has this reflection effect where we get to see each other's. That's what the private group talks are. See each other's games, see each other's social dynamics, decision making, mentalities about things. And it's amazing. There's a lot of common physics to people's minds. And then there's a lot of discrepancies, differences. And that's where we got to measure the external effect. Who's doing better? What are their mindsets? That's why I like watching these interviews with billionaires. They're all cheese balls, well, most of them, but man, they got some mindsets about money. They've made it. They've made it and held on to it. They're not just like overnight success and then they lose it. Like they're building, 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 maybe bankrupt and then build it again. And it's like, what's your mindset about money? And it's cool. So, but that guy could also learn a lot of things from me, but he may not be interested in the things he can learn from me. But I'm interested in things I can learn from him. So we join the mastermind. We learn a lot from AZD, who's clearly the world's greatest player. And the guys all get better. The girls that are in relationships with the guys get better. The kids that are the kids of the moms that are the girlfriends of the guys that study from AZD, they get better. So there's a lot of goodness going out, just rippling out from this epicenter called AZD. And these accounts are grown on AZD content and clips and videos and things like that. And I contribute my 2 cents being around for years and can say something like, guys are lost. They're completely confused. They have practically zero correct information about relating with women. If you sat any of them down and asked them, which it's the reason they don't come live, and asked them their ideas about dating and women, they would be numbskulls. They wouldn't really have a clue. But like, it's hard to imagine what they would really say. Well, you just buy her flowers. Maybe that's the extent. It's like so out of context. Like, what do you mean, happy wife, happy life? Are you married? If you're not married, then why are you saying that? Are you engaged? If you're not engaged, then why are you saying that? You're so far ahead of where you're at. Tell me about your game where you're at. Crickets. They have no idea how to get from here to there. They just see there because that's what was given to them as a vision of what to achieve, and they are lost because the route there, they see it there, but the path goes this way and then that way and then that way, so they get nowhere. And so then biology sets in, and every couple that you see at the mall, fat sloppy couple that got together, you'll get together at some point by convenience, someone you work with, proximity, someone you know, it'll happen eventually, and you just settle. You'll make it work because relationships are work. Yeah, they are. You know, how much work it would have taken. I had a girlfriend when I was 23 that we lived together for some time, and that really transformed my life a lot. I could have made it work with her. You can always make it work. At what point is it? It's not that it's too much work, it's just draining your life from all other creative endeavors and ambitions. Is that really your life goal, is to make it work with that one girl? That doesn't mean it should never be work. It is work, but the work is on yourself. And so is she inspiring enough for you to work on yourself, or are you just working on the relationship so that she's okay, so that you don't have such a headache and you still have access to sex? So that's all the guy is doing. He's staying in that condition for that reason. But that's a nasty thing to admit, and that's everybody. So why do you got to push guys? Because they're unwilling to admit their condition. They're out of touch with what's happening, and they're definitely out of touch with where it's going. And so it's a very uncomfortable truth that I got to essentially red pill guys at the same time keeping ultimate humility that I'm not red pilling you, dude. I just, you didn't know that? Oh, well, yeah, that's what it seems to be. Like, I got to kind of play like I'm at their level, because if I come in like authority on it, they just think I'm talking down to them, and that, I'm selling them something because I'm projecting the future for them. So what if I'm wrong? Am I just selling them on fear? So it's like, I don't know. Should you be afraid of the tiger? Should you be afraid of your future? Should you be afraid of that hurricane coming? Not if you got the right storm cellar and here, this and that. And it's like, yeah, bro, but that storm never makes it. It's going that way. Or that's not a storm. That's God or something. Like they're just so primitive about it. But who knows? I think just with the right numbers, it's kind of a numbers game, I suppose. I don't want to use that as a crutch. I think that every man wants it. They want what AZD has, and so convincing them there's a route or a path to that. But then at the same time, you get 10 million followers on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and there's also going to be enough people who just see it already. You don't need to convince them.
But that route being so difficult.
I just haven't seen it easy. That's the thing. It's a really, you know, I don't know what to call it. It's a really thick matrix. It's really tragic that that's the condition of men, and that I don't see anybody else solving the equation of relationships. So until otherwise found, AZD's method is the straightest shot, straightest line. And then, so now what's the easiest way to learn from AZD? And that's where it's like, man, if you had to measure my or Wolf's or somebody's commitment in dollars and years and time and ego and transformation and whatever, if you saw all of that on a ledger before you got started, you'd be like, I'm not going to start. I'm not going to start. What is that? Because there's not like a 4-year degree at the end of it that I'm going to get employment or whatever. At the end of it is you're going to have to keep working, because it's just, you want to win the game bad enough. And it's really, really amazing that it just, at the end of the day, even after 10 years of studying from AZD, it still boils down to, do you want to win the game or not? Because outside of this, nobody's winning. And so I'm winning to whatever level I'm winning. I see better for myself and I can do better. And he's still ahead of me and I'm still improving, learning from him. So it's like, man, this is taking a long time or this is difficult. And sometimes I'll see a guy or some dating coach or something, and he's a promoter, he's got a bunch of girls around him, or he has two girls, they're average or something like
It's
that.
like superficial.
That's the thing. It used to get to me where it's like I should be fast further along until I knew those guys and then realized that they may get more sex from me. They may get more sex than I do. They may get sexual partners than I do. But they may be around more women more often than I am. But they're weak. They're weak with those women. The women they have sex with, they're beta to them. That the woman is putting up with them. They can't keep relationships. And men don't respect them outside of giving them access to the women. That outside of the women, the only respect is that the man has some access to the woman. And for that reason, there's nobody seeking dynamic with that guy outside of getting access to women. For example, you might think that same thing about AZD, you respect him so much for the women, and yet there are guys that seek interactions with him outside of learning game from him. High level guys, UFC, gangsters, uh, especially business women. Businessmen will come for game, but there are business women that seek advice from AZD that are not targets of any kind of romance or whatever. They're older, they're established. I can think of at least two that make really good money, like more money than AZD, that have that relationship with him. And I don't know AZD's phone book. I just know from the years of living with him. So that's character, and that's actual survival value and wisdom. Rappers, but I guess they come to him for game also. I mean, obviously he's the greatest at game, so a lot of people come to him for the game. So I see the superficial of those other guys. There was a guy that was learning from AZD that had a lay count in the hundreds, and he had a really quick shot method of getting girls off dating apps, and he would get a lot of girls. He'd have twosomes, threesomes, foursomes, and would make videos and just all kinds of things. Had on the surface what a lot of guys would want. The women weren't attractive; most of them were ugly, but compared to a thirsty, hungry guy, he would see that and be like, "I want that, I want that, I want that." He was so weak, so emotional, such a mama's boy, couldn't interact around guys very well, was afraid, actually, very insecure. And it's the same thing with the guy here that I'm thinking of that's a promoter, gets a lot of chicks, can't keep the chicks, and just very insecure about his body, about his ability to speak. He's shy. And so he uses memorized gambits with game to pick up chicks. And he feels confident in that because it's a skill set. If I was a juggler, but I'm not a confident individual, put me around people that I feel socially anxious and give me some balls to juggle. And watch how confidently I juggle. And if the more I get absorbed in my juggling, it's high value, but then I put the balls down and I don't know how to interact. So the guy has game that he's memorized and he's juggling. He's doing his game and he feels good because he's doing it. And the game he's learned from guys who got laid from that game, he gets laid from that game. And then afterwards, he has to keep distance from the girls because if they get to know him too closely, he's not that. He's a shy, insecure guy that learned game. And so that sucks that you can never be intimate or known like that you can't talk freely about what you do. So you live a double life. And that'll be the same guy that does crypto trading or whatever and makes a bunch of money and then spends it on getting girls. And he's living a double life. His life is unattractive to women, and his money making has no consideration of gain. He's just making the money to spend the money. So the double life. And that's what your money is for. But as you get more and more advanced at the pyramid of this thing, your life gets more and more integrated with women. So, like, it's part of my job to take the guys to the lounges and take them around. I see it as that, and I'm creating that because it builds reputation, builds a lot of connections. You'd be amazed when we were doing the model auditions, which I want to bring back. I just got the clips to Ambu. I'm just going to make a bunch of clips from my old auditions. I have like 20 or 30 of these recordings. Sultan ended up deleting a bunch of them, which is gay as fuck. But I had a ton of these audition videos. He fucking deleted them. And but I got these others, so we'll make those clips, distribute them, and see if we can grow some followers from that. Because there's probably some good game in it, even though I'm cringe 2 years ago, probably cringe now compared to 2 years from now. But then we'll start running some model auditions, and I'll get some podcasts going. So I want to get some podcasts with AZD Game talking to these girls. And uh, when we first came here, we probably had like 25 or 30 auditions, and 2 or 3 of them ended up being dancers that I ran into later at the club. Or vice versa. They were dancers I'd run into at the club, and then when we ran model auditions, here comes a model under a different name. And when she shows up, it's like, oh shit, I remember you from somewhere. And Puya, man, that guy is always calling, never texting. The guy needs to learn how to text. Um, where was I going with that? Auditions. Oh, well, it's just integrated, right? So the audition is the interactions with the women. The women come on the show and there's more interactions with the women. Now, a lot of times, I mean, women have friends. They'll want social gatherings or whatever. We got lots of things from model events and whatever we do when we go out. And it's just spreading our influence in the ecosystem of Las Vegas because there is a local audience and like people who live here. And then of them, there's the women that live here. And of them, there's the beautiful women that live here that make money off their beauty, like models and dancers and waitresses, whatever. And that is a finite number. It's not that many. It's enough. It's Vegas. It's a hospitality city. So we could literally go to all the restaurants and all the casinos. And in a year, we might not even hit them all up. And you'll find some that they're better. They got more waitresses, prettier waitresses, whatever. Just as an example. Keep going there. Build. Now you have other places also. So that's great. Now you got the social fire going. But now where do you bring them to? So my goal with the base meetings, and it is getting big. Can you notice that there's a change in the base? Obviously, there's more people here even, but is it any cleaner?
For sure.
And it's little pieces you may not notice, the backyard and the gravel and little trash pieces and the fire hose and whatever. And so the goal of the base meeting is to get it to a place where the base meeting has very little, if anything, to do about duties. The duties should be really sharp. Everybody's doing their duties and reporting to the communicator, which is Simba. And so Simba gives me a report that everybody's done their duties and there's nothing to talk about on the duties. Now let's create. When's the next house party? Who's doing the flyer? Who's doing the music? Who's getting the drinks? It's a second level of duty that comes into a creation mode. First, we got to handle our first dynamic, which is just, is your space clean? Simba is, okay, is the bathroom clean? Can't even bring girls here. But let's get it humming where everybody knows their duty, does their duty, does their duty. And then the next level of creation is now let's create something that so if everybody's spreading their social influence throughout the week after week, everybody should have some people in their social, some people in their number list, whatever. And then we have a righteous creation that just give value, fun time, safe place, entertaining, great brotherhood, some fun and games, whatever it takes, little gambits. Not everybody's gonna show up, most people won't. Not even the first, second, third, or fourth time. I think it was you or somebody I told that it was like on my 9th phone call I booked the yoga studio. It was a big venue, but I had to keep following up. And it's not the same thing as relating with women, but man, like follow up. Like you're competing against celebrity guys here in Vegas. Give her a chance. When she comes around your team, your brotherhood, your house, your communication, the chips are going to weigh in your favor. You just got to get her there because you are better than those other guys at that. So it's just building a life. Every man does his job. And accumulate week after week, and then maybe we move to 2 bases or whatever. But each base will have their own. What's the word? Just their perks, their market value. One base has a rooftop. One base has a pool. One base has a weight set, a gym set, or something. Even if they just have backyard gym, something like that, it's something. Have an ice bath there. Like I wanted to get an ice bath and have an ice bath party. Everybody just come in your swimsuit or have your swimsuit. We'll have some lasagna or some shit. We'll do some breathing, eat some lasagna, everybody take an ice plunge, get drunk after. Whatever. Like, it's cool. And it's
Competition, whoever lasts longer.
maybe, it's gonna be hard. Uh, so little fun things like that, like, oh, there's a new music video release. Pyro just came out with some content. We're having a video release party. Simba just came out with a whole EP or something of beats. We're gonna listen to his beats while we, whatever the creation is and can be. Thanksgiving doesn't have to be our creation. It's a Thanksgiving festive thing. Like, so that's a very simple way to build something that you invite the girls to instead of you're just always meeting them out socially or taking them for food. That's great, but that's also common. So until your game is so special and makes you so unique that having food with you is a unique experience for her, then give her a unique experience. House party, that's not happening. When's the last time you got invited to a house party? You know,
High school.
it's rare. Guys don't do it anymore because there's no teams. The closest would be fraternity parties. They have house parties and they do well compared to regular guys. But we can compete with that because they're slaves. They're cookie cutters. They're copycats, carbon copy mimics of each other. So, and that's just one level. Obviously, the fight center is a new thing. It's not necessarily for chicks. For me personally, if I'm hosting yoga, it's a great place for me to bring chicks. I'm not doing anything sexual, just let me teach you my yoga. It's just giving value. It's just outside of wherever I meet them, you know? And then outside of that, you're gonna have to plan things that kind of take you off path. Like, let's go on a hike. Let's go to this concert. Unless you have a concert review channel. Now it's aligned with your life. Let's go to the lounges because I'm not exiting my life to take you to the lounge, girl. I go to the lounges because I'm networking for my tribe all the time. So that's part of my business activity. Come along. So you start to build your life so that your business is attractive to the woman. And now you're getting that's the AZD method versus the pickup artist go and make some money and then go and learn some memorized lines to get the girl back to a hotel room, fuck her that night, and then hopefully she's not bored with your life. LOL, my blood is boiling. Why is your blood boiling? Mind gate. Armando, come live. Man, I've been talking all this time. Come live. Okay. Give it a second. Let's see if there's any comments on YouTube. Can I come sit with you guys? Yeah, but I mean, we're about to end. I would have made my room more hospitable if I knew guys were coming here. Oh, we do got some. Dang, a lot of people on YouTube. My video is frozen though. Do you guys see my video on YouTube? Go ahead and comment. Hasn't the world always been fucked up? Uh, Debatably, yeah, but in different ways it changes over time. So I don't think the male-female dynamic has always been fucked up in this way, but it was fucked up in a different way. I mean, chimpanzees are not necessarily like ethical with each other. So, yeah, but so what? So it's always been fucked up. Now what? Guys, you want to come live? This is the part where you come live or Mindgate. You could just come in here. He lives here. We got Victor just moved here from Albuquerque. We got Mondo Mindgate, Florida to Tennessee to here. And ultimately, everybody that lives here came from another place. We got 12 guys living in a big ass mansion here in Las Vegas. And then AZD and Wolf and KP are also in town. Octavio. Some other INC guys live in town. Okay. Yeah, just come in. Karan GM hasn't the oh that's the Usman Malik or I'll go to Karan again because he just messaged again. What's up? By the time you run out of gambits, wouldn't you have investment from her? Well, I mean, that's the goal of the pickup artist, that you don't run out of gambits so that you can have investment from her. Ultimately, the pickup artists at the top level, they have so many gambits that they can take the same girl out night after night and merge sets and not run out of gambits and repeat the same things because that'll be a telltale sign that you got no substance to you. So they have a lot of gambits but no character that keeps the girl. You will eventually run out of gambits, bro. By the time, and that's the thing. So you have enough gambits that spikes her emotions enough for long enough that you have sex with her. And then it's more difficult. The more times you have sex with her, it's more difficult for her to leave. So you trap her with tricks. And that's why women are resentful of pickup artists. That's all it is. But it's this with character. A lot of guys, the basic guy would do this with money, food, vacation. That's what he's doing. The pickup artist is like, oh, there's actually a way to communicate that does that. And he's doing that. But bro, how selfish and unrighteous? Because you're gonna fuck her, and it's not because she liked your character, it's because you learned some tricks. It's a human being, bro. It's a human being. It's fine to use some tricks, but just work on your character also. That would be lethal, a guy that has lethal character and has the tricks to get her attention because she's so attention flutters everywhere. So you need some game to get her attention. But do you have the now if you have the character now you got AZD. Game and character keeper. Game pick her up, character keeps her. Pick her up, accumulate, accumulate, accumulate. Okay. Geo's messaging. I gotta end it soon. Seth, what's up? What are we talking about? Trick daddies? That's right. That's basically what it was. Should you raise another man's kid? But I kind of, Seth, I go in 1,000 directions. So I talked about it a lot. Quran. Not many guys could make them feel that way. After the gambits run out, can't you still be a cool guy if you are a cool guy? Uh, yeah, theoretically you can. But then you would imagine that you have relationships. If you are a cool guy and your tricks got her to have sex with you, then you should logically keep her. Um, and so the best of the pickup artists, they trick the girl into being with them and then they hold on to her. And to hold on to her, they stop gaming because they're not good enough, they're not cool enough. Like a lot of rock stars or rap artists, they can get multiple women because they're cool enough. They don't have sound game, they're just cool. Sound game would be like the logic and philosophy that keeps the girl orbiting you for many, many years and creates a life for her. Like that's game is life, life is game. But they got enough game and enough coolness to get multiple women around them. So if you have game and gambits and things that attracts the woman, but then she doesn't stick around, then how cool are you really? You could say, well, the girl can't invalidate my coolness, but bro, then why did you go for that girl? Don't you want the girls that you want to think you're cool? You can, after the fact, be like, well, I didn't like her anyway because she invalidated you. But bro, you went for her. So it's fine. Along the way, you realize that her character was shit, but then you shouldn't be sounding all bitter about it. You'd be like, she wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? So that's what I think about that stuff. We got Seth. Playing another man's saved game data is crazy. That's a funny way to put it. Saved game data. That's great.
Or going getting eating the leftovers at a restaurant.
Gross.
Like just go sitting down at the table.
I get it. I get it. It's just when we're talking about kids and you're saying eating the leftovers, it's weird association. But I get it. Yeah. Sloppy seconds, leftovers. And whatever. Girls make mistakes and whatever. I'm not saying I wouldn't have a relationship with I had a relationship with a girl for 3.5 years. She loaned me the money to do messengers the first time I did messengers. Almost all of it, like 95% of it. She loaned me. And she had a 12-year-old son. That was difficult for her to make the decision to leverage all of her shit when that was her cushion in case something happened. And so I speak from experience that she got better, her kid got better indirectly through her, and I never saw a relationship with the kid. And it was a problem at a couple of instances. I won't play soccer with the kid. I won't throw catch with the kid. I won't, whatever, dude. And the relationship ended up ending for other reasons, whatever. I mean, that was my cringe game of 5 years ago. So where am I now? I'm versus 5 years ago. So yeah, what's up, guys? If you guys want to come live, we got 2 guys live in person and people on YouTube. I'm going to get to their comments. You guys obviously have precedence if you have something to say.
Would
and then X-Men, I'll get to you.
I think I would. It's not risky. I would
not a what?
I would.
He's not a Mexican.
If it's not a mixed kid.
Mixed kid. That's what you said.
I want the kid to be like
a Mexican.
Like the girl that I'm dating.
That'd be funny, like a half Mexican, half white. I'm a Mexican. Yeah. Or something. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would be in the kid's life, but I wouldn't want the kid to depend on like any. Like I build a relationship with the kid, but I wouldn't. Not to like.
That's a slippery slope, man. Because you can't pull back. They won't understand. If you get to the degree you get involved, it's like a one-way road. You just keep getting deeper in the Chinese finger trap. It's hard to pull out of the relationship with the other woman's kid. So yeah, enter into it slow as fuck. And at the end of the day, I just don't think it's necessary. Like it's just not needed. It'll happen, when it happens that there's some interaction. But
I would like pass on knowledge and wisdom into the kid,
yeah, of course.
and then but not
Live will end. Why?
I would also like put it in the kid's head, like, this, for example, like it wouldn't last as long as you think it is because if this happens, this might happen. I might not be around if this happens. If the girl, is not interested anymore. So we can still have a relationship and play ball, whatever.
That's the thing. I mean, I've come across multiple guys that continue to have a relationship with the woman's kid after they break up with the woman. It's hard to imagine a guy that's pursuing excellence in his life taking the time to do that. Why? Why continue to have the relationship with the kid? It's not your kid. If you just want to help kids, go coach a soccer team, go teach at the school, get involved with kids. Why that kid so specifically?
That's a bit unnatural.
It's unnatural. So you can override nature, but it takes horsepower to override nature. And I don't think you can be excelling at the highest levels of what your purpose is if you're using your horsepower to overcome your nature. And so that's why guys with lower ambition tend to take on more mothering duties. The less value they have in life as survival value, they take on more of the replication value. So that's the guys that you see with like the walking their kid around in the thing or pushing the stroller or whatever. The more investment they have, the less value they have to the woman.
She'll be right next to him and he's carrying the baby.
Sometimes she'll be at work while he's fucking carrying the baby. She's taking care of shit while he's fucking doing a stay-at-home dad thing.
I see that a lot every day.
Mm-hmm.
I even hear the guys, they're so like blind to, they say, yeah, if the wife would allow me,
Totally.
like, well,
she's the boss. They'll say it like a joke, but it's like a sad reality.
Yeah.
That we just have to laugh it off because it's so sad.
They're not even playing it. They're not even saying it in that. Like they're actually proud of it or some shit.
Seriously, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. Like I was on a stream the other day, and the guy came on, and Usman, I'll get to your comment. And the guy was like, "How many girlfriends do you have now?" And I was like, "Just got one now." And he's like, "Oh, me too." And it was like, "Yeah, bro, but when you say girlfriend and I say girlfriend, it's just not the same thing. Like that's a word, and we're both saying the same word, and it sounds the same. But what's on the other end of that for you versus what's on the other end of that for me? There are guys who literally watch their girls fuck other guys and still call her, that's my woman, that's my girlfriend. And so that experience of girlfriend is not my experience of girlfriend. It's very different. So somehow that's related to what you were just saying.
Yeah, it is.
I forgot what you were saying now.
That they're actually like proud of being in that position.
They'll be beta in some cases.
They think it's normal.
And they think they're doing good.
It's like the theory of the cave. That's what we were born into. That's all we
need. Exactly.
We've seen it done right. So then we're like,
literally, a man that's totally beta under a semi-attractive woman is winning compared to most men. So he'll brag about that. That would be like Brian Casella. That's funny. You guys, I don't even know if you know Brian Casella. Okay. Cool. So let's see here just a little bit more. Usman, you seemed really surprised in one of your videos when guys said they hated their mothers. That was a long time ago. But yeah, that was really surprising. And I don't remember who all was on what side of it. So it's hard to say. I think most of the guys that hated their mothers dropped out. Yeah. And one of them, like, that was Zothes that just took off. That literally, we came to session. When we got home, his stuff was gone. When we left, his stuff was there. When we got home, his stuff was gone with a note. And he took off for a woman in Texas. But he hated his mother. And he admitted it. Like, so, yeah. I was surprised. And, later I was surprised by myself that I had to admit to myself that I had hatred for women. But I didn't have hatred for my mom for some reason. So that's why it was easier to eradicate. It wasn't so deeply rooted for me. I had been bullied by older girls when I was younger and whatever. And so I had resentment towards the female gender. But towards my mom, I couldn't find resentment outside of she fucked me up as an emotional woman that just like washed my mouth out with soap and was fucking emotional. So I had to forgive her for that shit, but it was an old Italian fucking discipline. And but it wasn't that bitter about it. I was like, Mom, you made me fucking emotional. And every time I get dark and emotional, it's you or Dad. It's from your mom. And it's like it's passed down through the woman. But I didn't have hatred for her. And so it was a very easy decision when it was like, do you love your mom or hate your mom? I love my mom, bro. Like, yeah. And then that guys were admitting I hate my mom. What? Whoa. And then when it was half the room, 6 out of 12. I remember that. I was in there, 6 out of 12. And I was like, whoa, dude. These guys are gonna try to learn game, but when asked to look deep to answer, they hate their moms. What kind of game are you gonna create? We gotta handle mom first. Because you can still learn game, you just got to handle the mom first. And that's where guys that are interested in game don't want to handle their mom because they just want to have sex with women. And guys that are not interested in game, they want to learn self mastery from AZD. They don't want to handle their mom because they don't see how it relates. And so it's like AZD's really a surgeon or a master mechanic of this machine and how to make it work. And unless you have a passion for this machine engineering, you may not have the interest to get into the nitty gritty or whatever. Unless you have a passion for jujitsu. When I showed up to class the other day and he's showing like a flying triangle, and it's like, bro, this is frustrating if you don't have like a lot of background in how to do this thing. But because I got passionate about it, bro, I'll learn the little subtleties and I'll get into it because fuck yeah, I want to do it. I'm not just in it to like tap somebody out and beat somebody or whatever. So takes a passion for the game, and that's why AZD doesn't want to teach game anymore. He only wants to teach messengers. Messengers have a passion enough to learn the game. The messengers should teach game, as we figured out for ourselves, because we're not going to break like those other game coaches. I just talked to a game coach who's now out of the game. He had to go to rehab for cocaine or whatever, and he was one of these. So if you saw that hating video, Armin, who was did an interview with AZD, and him on his Facebook of the stream, this other guy had come and commented something favorably on it. And I had been talking to this guy for a while, but never really got anywhere. He tried to sell me on game, and I tried to sell him on game, and whatever. It didn't go anywhere. Very superficial text thread. I screenshot his comment and sent him a message. You're a fucking idiot. And there was the first time any aggression had come towards that guy from me. So up until then, it had just been years of casual conversation. And he started attacking back, and I'm just fucking stabbing him down. And finally, he's like, what have you accomplished? And I was like, bro, you could call me if you want a conversation, but I'm not going to be a pen pal because I'd already dismissed it. And so he calls me. Turns out he's in rehab, apologized for some of the things. And he had picked up some pretty girls, never any relationships. He had fucked a lot of pretty girls, supposedly. Thought so-and-so had good game, so-and-so a good game. And I just had to cut everybody down and be like, bro, you are lost. And, at the end of the day, guys are lost. That's who people were paying to go and train with in Thailand, is where he lived. But he's from UK. And man, bunch of false prophets. So the reaction stood out to me. What's your relationship with your own mother like, and how has that influenced your views on masculine feminine dynamics? Think that context would help me understand your teaching better. Right on. I don't know how much I teach. I'm just showing up and talking about the ideas. AZD's the teacher. I'm a messenger, and I've learned a lot from him. But I don't think it's teaching because I'm just parroting a lot of things he says in my own words. And it's so far advanced to you guys that it seems like teaching, but I'm literally just shooting the shit. I am conscious that I'm not teaching. If I have a membership class, then you'll see me teach. And I'll have techniques. And again, there'll still be a lot of taking from AZD, and that's so be it. That's why I only teach IMC guys. I'm not creating my own coaching program. I did when I had my yoga coaching, but then COVID and I changed. So my relationship with my mom is respectful. I I put her in her place if I need to. Uh, Mostly I defer to my dad, not because my dad is dominant or in that position, but just because that's what I wish to create. So I just talk to my mom like my dad is super righteous and super strong, which he is. He's just old man, 3 spinal fusions, beaten down by a woman for 40 years living with her. So it's like even the toughest guy in the world, beaten down living with the woman for so long and being injured like that. Anybody who's ever been injured and sick, you're very vulnerable to manipulation. Over time, it just eats at you. So, it's not my mom's fault. not my dad's fault. It's just, but it is their fault. It's like both. It's like, what am I gonna do? So my relationship with my mom is just super respectful. She supports what I do. She knows I have multiple women. She's, you know, whatever. She's got no say in my life at all, and I love her from, to the end of time. Uh, so that's my, and then how that affected my views on feminine masculine dynamics. It's hard to say other than it's just everything. Like I was raised around my father and mother, and outside of the media and school and stupid education, my entire frame of reference for masculine and feminine was my mom and dad, my grandma and grandpa's. So, coming into the reality of you got to attract the woman in today's day and age that so many things are shiny and sparkly. And you need to really have healthy, dynamic, strong, dominant leadership because she has so many options. She's just not going to stick it out with you, man. Not the way mom or grandma stuck it out with my dad or grandpa. So, uh, you got a long way to go. And you got to start because it's not going to happen by itself. You're getting further away from the target the longer you wait to start, is my views. Quran, IC Domo, can't rebuild our society without rebuilding our men into stronger men. Of course, men will lead the change in society, and you don't have to look very far. Just look to your neighbor, look to your housemate. That's why I live with IMC guys. So we make each other better, which makes ourselves better, which makes the world better. Doing pretty good about it. So, guys, come to Vegas. If you're not already on the newsletter, join up, imcbase1.com. It's in the description on the channel. It's in the bios for all these accounts, and it's free. It's 100+ pieces of AZD content that you will not find anywhere else that is free. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Join up. And then from there, you'll see other opportunities. If you want to come to Vegas or get any of his trainings, it's all there. Karan, is it true that most guys don't have a beautiful girlfriend? Do you? If not, are most beautiful women lonely because a lot of men are just not, well, just, I think most beautiful women are lonely. I think a lot of them do have relationships, but there's a lot less beautiful women than there are guys. So obviously, most guys don't have a beautiful woman. I mean, it's just the numbers of it. How many women are beautiful? Okay, so what do they have, like multiple boyfriends? If not, then there's a lot of guys that don't. IC Domo. That's an interesting question about Coach Kyle and Chosen. How do you know about that? Because I'd like to know how you know about that. Is that just from streaming or because there were a lot of particular individuals that were around in that time. Well, basically he's a dropout. I mean, he dropped out during Chosen. He got called out for how bad he was in his relationship and he never showed up to another lecture. Finished that lecture, got real quiet. His girl continued training with AZD's girl, and then they broke up, and then now he still uses her pictures in his ads for his game. A girl that he had 2 or 3 years ago, who's probably the hottest girl he's ever been with, who was using him and left him, also had a kid with someone else, and uh, and he still uses her in his promos for his game. So that's how good his game is. That dude is a total weakling who looks like a bad boy, but he's a square. I thought she was attractive. She was, 8.5 or whatever, but I didn't see it in person. Could be Photoshop. Wouldn't surprise me. Oh, it's TK. Okay, I think we've, gotten to the end. Appreciate your all's attention. IMCBase1.com. See all the events happening. Beautiful thing happening here in Las Vegas. When the Fight Center opens up, it's just going to be a whole new dimension. That's AZD's game was literally built on that. But man, I would just get started on a whole new conversation about martial arts. So righteous. So I hope to see you guys on the other side on some trainings, dialoguing with AZD, not just me. Show up to the streams. Come here and bro. You guys, we met online, right? These guys live here now. How did we meet? How did we first talk?
It was through Instagram.
About how long ago?
About 2 years ago.
2 years ago on Instagram. What did I DM you or something? 2 Aprils ago. Year and a half ago.
Yeah. It was on Instagram. It was, I don't know who messaged first. It was probably Sultan.
Under my guidance.
Yeah, and then I had to message and talk to you.
Yeah.
And I had video chatted him with the initiation. Was it orientation?
Yeah.
And then I don't think I video chatted you, but we were talking through the account.
Yeah.
Texting.
Yeah. I let him talk with you, but he asked me very, very often about what to say to you. It is probably 50 or 60% was me messaging through him to you. Given that I would tell him what to say and he'd write it in his own words. Like I would just say, well, fast say this to him, and then, I don't know what he messaged you. So that's the reality. Like, those guys' success, whoever was selling IMC, most of it was just me telling them what to say. They just didn't have any ability, and that's why they dropped out. Because they actually weren't congruent in their hearts with it. They were just trying to get pussy. And that's why they dropped out when they got pussy. He got a 9, he got a
to get pussy, but it's not really like just that. It's so much more.
And then I've said in a recent stream, it's like you don't even know the guy's character until he gets a 9 or a 10. We can all say it's not about pussy until you have a 10 who's asking you to drop out so that you can just build a life with her. And it's like, bro,
The devs.
that's what happens. That's what happened to Fernando and Sultan. So when people are like, AZD's game doesn't work, or no, the students can't do it, bro, it works. That's why they dropped out. Chris Lopez lost his wife and then got his wife back and banged other chicks with AZD's game. And his wife knowing about it. They just never harmonized because he wasn't alpha. He was beta. And so she always kept giving problems to the point where she called the cops on him. And it fucked up his relationship. And about a little bit later is when he dropped out. Because he couldn't handle her. She was also training with AZD's girl. And so knew a lot of inside stuff about how weak he really was. He's portraying differently online though. Because he coaches insurance guys. Hundreds by the hundreds will come to his Zoom streams. And he's training them. But he's really weak in the home. Those guys, Powerhouse got a girl, dropped out. KP, he's still around, holding on by a thread. But that's what happened. She demanded too many resources and can't do both. Can't worship two masters, or whatever, follow two masters. But I'm hopeful that he actually swings back around. He's been in more communication the last week than lately, and he's been on everybody's minds and being talked about more. And then you just went out with him, so maybe things can change. It doesn't matter how long you're on the path; it matters that you're on it now. So if you were around for 10 years and then you drop out, I hate you. If you were never buying for 10 years and then all of a sudden you do messengers, you're my best friend. That's Kevin Amador. 10 years trying to get a hold of that guy. 5 years. Finally, answer some random email out of nowhere. Gets involved, more involved, more involved, more involved, more involved. Put his down payment for messengers. Cool. I love that guy. Forget the past. Like, but Brian Casella helped everybody out, sponsored me, sponsored Jordan Damari, blah, 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 blah. Bought events when he wasn't even attending just to contribute to AZD. Drop out. As soon as he breaks up with his girl, drop out. And, so what a loser. So, there's that. Good live. Karan, good participation, even if on YouTube. Guys, join the newsletter, send me a message, get on the Telegram group because there's more instant feedback and there's a lot of private streams and stuff that happens with AZD that I post in the Telegram group. The best 2 ways to stay in contact for free and get a lot of free value: the Telegram group, the newsletter. Telegram group, newsletter. Then the social media is, there's a lot of things, clips and things that make it to the Instagram and TikTok that's not on the YouTubes. So it's an ecosystem. Get involved. If a man is strong, will women not be psycho around him at some point, or will the psycho behaviors only come when she senses weakness? It's a powerful question. I think it's both, because when she senses weakness is not the same thing as him being weak. She has false perception, so she may pick something up as weak and then start acting psycho, even though he wasn't being weak, because she's got traumas. So she perceives things wrong. Just like the woman flakes on you and you might think that she's cheating on you because the last girlfriend, when she flaked, she was fucking someone else. But that's just wrong thinking. Maybe she flaked on maybe something else, but it would be wrong to act psychotic like that, which guys will do. So if you're weak, then yeah, it's not even psycho. She's just designed to destroy you. That's different than being psycho. Psycho is like, even temporarily just acting out of madness. So yeah, weakness destabilizes the woman. Strength stabilizes the woman is a more general, universal thing I could say about that. Okay, get involved, bro. I can tell you're a seeker, but I am a messenger. Get involved with the teacher, brother. Send me a message, join the newsletter, imcbase1.com. Os everybody, J Guru Dev. Be the best, fuck the rest. IMC Nation. I need to smile more, I just realized.
bumped into one of the Gracie guys, Jiu-Jitsu Gracie guys.
Like, was he a Gracie or just a Jiu-Jitsu Gracie guy?